The March of Dimes Indiana chapter, located in Lafayette, Indiana, has developed a fundraising strategy with the goal of raising public awareness and raising operational funds. The March of Dimes mission is to provide care for and prevent premature births and defects. The fundraising method the March of Dimes will utilize includes a special event, as well as a strategy, timeline, and a method of evaluation. We first evaluated the areas where attention was needed. A large problem facing the March of Dimes is public awareness of both the ability to support the March of Dimes and the causes for which the organization stands for. People give money to the people that help people, and this rings particularly true for the March of Dimes, reminding donors that the core fundraising cause that we stand for is to provide care for and prevent premature birth and defects. This is centered not just around people, but mothers and children specifically. By engaging the public in a way that spreads the March of Dimes mission and also compels them to donate will prove critical to the nonprofit's potential impact toward their mission. There is a great deal of potential in the Lafayette area for increased donations, but without knowing what the March of Dimes does or how an individual can get involved, donations will likely be few and far between. We start by educating potential donors on the positive impact their donation could have and how making the donation and participation in events are key components for success. March for Babies is the March of Dimes national fundraiser that helps to generate a great deal of the operation capital for the Indiana chapter. However, it does not fund the entire year. In addition to March for Babies, we wanted a fundraising event that would re-engage the public in March of Dimes mission after the hype of the Spring 5K wore off. Therefore, we have decided to bookend March for Babies with another 5K run-walk in the second half of the year. March for Babies is generally held in mid-April for our chapter. The new walkathon, 10 for 10, will be held on Saturday, September 17th, 2016. 10 for 10 is a specific walkathon that ends for every 10 meters walked. We ask for a simple donation of 10 cents. Yes, a dime for every 10 meters walked. The entry fee for a team of 2 is $50. Therefore, 5,000 meters or 5K for $50 comes down to 10 for 10. The money that will be raised will help ensure the continuation of the organization as a whole. With the 10 for 10 5K Run Walk, the Indiana chapter of March of Dimes will have the funds necessary to continue to assist families in need and help premature infants and reinforce the message of the importance of supporting the March of Dimes all year round. In an effort to help spread awareness, we plan to market race registration through local running groups, social media, and direct marketing. The 2 major local running stores have offered to promote our event for free in trade for free logo placement on our marketing materials. Initial funds for the March of Dimes will be raised in the form of sponsorship on event flyers and race t-shirts. Sponsors can purchase space for their logo, and costs will be in accordance to space and size of the sponsor's logo. Another part of fundraising will come from booth rental for the health fair. Our volunteers plan to market booth rental to the same potential owners as the t-shirt logos, as well as healthcare organizations and fitness companies. This will provide a healthy networking environment for the community to connect with for health and wellness opportunities. Participants in the race will also be given optional fundraising forms to solicit from their families and friends to donate individually. In our fundraising efforts, we plan to collect a gift basket of donations to award the race participant with the most funds raised. This portion of fundraising is optional for participants, but past events are proof that participants will fundraise if a prize is involved. The health fair itself will not only bring in funds from the registration, but also grant exposure for the March of Dimes. We can use this opportunity to speak to the public about our work in health education and pregnancy support. This will also foster relationships with local organizations that can lead to long-term financial support. A critical component to the success of the March of Dimes 5K and Health Fair will be planning and execution. In the first week, we must host an initial planning meeting, determine social media coordinators, and designate a treasurer. We must also begin recruiting volunteers. By the second week, a location must be secured and sponsors and vendors locked in for the health fair. Before the end of the third week, we must have all licenses and permits secured, create registration, and begin our advertising campaign. We must also continue to seek out sponsors and vendors. By week 4, the race company needs to be secured, as well as all insurance and other liabilities. We must also have sponsor agreements signed and begin the social media campaign. During the 5th week, the course needs to be plotted out and reserved via the race company. We will also need to secure food and drink purveyors, print flyers, and continue the social media campaign. By the end of week 6, the local emergency crews need to be assigned throughout the city. By this point, advertising should be at a peak and continue on through the day of the event. In week 7, we will finalize the schedule and placement for all vendor booths at the health fair. During week 8, volunteers will need to be scheduled and duties assigned. Also, we will contact all local media, including newspaper, television, and radio. Week 9 will be used to tighten up all aspects of the event, from vendors, sponsors, volunteers, and competitors in the event. The week before the race, we will print registration forms for the race and ensure that the race company is handling bibs and pre-registration. We have determined that to best assess our event, we must focus on 3 areas of results to properly evaluate the overall success of our fundraising plan. The first area will be cost per dollar raised. We feel we need to split the financial aspect into 2 separate areas before we combine them to track the overall financial success of the event. Secondly, we want to evaluate the overall participation of the event in the local community, since our focus is to build exposure in the Lafayette area. Finally, since it is our goal to build a long-term, sustainable event, we will follow this event up with a survey for both sponsors and participants. The sponsors will receive a thank you letter asking for their opinions of the event and also to ask if they have any comments to suggest. At the end, it will also ask for their pledge to sponsor in next year's 5K Run Walk event as we make this an annual event. Help us make 10 for 10 an annual event for the Lafayette March of Dimes.